Resourceful Designer, episode 190. Reduce your offering, not your price.
Welcome to the Resourceful Designer podcast, offering solutions to streamline your graphic and web design business so you can get back to designing. And now your host. He's always wanted to do a backflip, but never had the guts to try one. Mark Decote.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. It always pleases me to know that you're taking a little bit of time and wanting to grow your business and deciding to do it by listening to what I have to say. Now, in this week's episode, I'm going to tell you what to do when someone asks you to lower your price. I'm also going to share a resource that'll make it easier for you to get through your workday. Now, what have I been up to? Well, other than the fact that it's November, or Movember, if you know what that is, and I'm in the process of growing what's called a circle beard, or a mustache and goatee to some of you. I do this every year in support. Even though my wife hates it, she says every time she tries to kiss me, my mustache or my beard stabs her and she doesn't like it, so she's looking forward till the 1st of December when I shave it off. But it's all for a good cause. Now, as for work, I had a few projects get done this week. I created another podcast cover art. This is the third one that I've done for this client, so I must be doing something right. He keeps coming back. I also started a new website for a client. It's a really small website. It's only going to be 4 or 5 pages, and that one I should have done within a week. It's so simple to do. And I also started work on a recurring project for a new client. This is a podcasting client, and they've hired me to do artwork for every podcast episode. So 1 per week. They're going to give me the topic, and I create the artwork for that one particular episode. So this is a little different. Instead of being podcast artwork for the entire podcast, they wanted specific artwork for every episode. And what's neat about this one is all they do is they just tell me what the topic of this week's podcast episode is going to be about, and then they leave it completely up to me to interpret visually what that topic is going to look like. Now, this is a quick project. It only takes me about 30 minutes to do every week. Most of it is done through stock images, so it's just a matter of finding the right stock image, putting it on, changing some wording, making it look good. But still, it's a little fun, just trying to boost that creativity by trying to interpret a title, a headline, if you will, into something visual. So that's an ongoing project I'll be doing for the foreseeable future. So those are just a few of the things I've been up to this week. Now, one thing I've heavily been involved in is the Resourceful Designer community. Got lots of great conversations going on in there. We've been talking about what software is appropriate to use depending on what the project that you're working on. We've had discussions on hiring help, both for one-time projects like a one-off contractor or a virtual assistant for reoccurring things. And we also got into a very lengthy discussion about the benefits of working from home when you have young children. Several of the people in the community have very young children at home, and we got talking about all the benefits and things that we can accomplish as parents when you're running your own business from home. Now, of course, all these conversations are taking place in the various channels that are set up in the Slack group for all sorts of topics, all sorts of conversations, where all the designers there, we're getting to know each other, we're encouraging each other, and we're providing value for one another. And from what I could see, everybody is having a great time. Now, I would like to give a quick shout out and welcome Derek as the newest member of the Resourceful Designer community. Now, if you're looking for a tight-knit group of designers to become friends with, to get advice from, to act as sounding boards, to be accountability partners, mentors, if that sounds good to you, then check out the Resourceful Designer community by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/community. And now, this week's Resource of the Week. Now this week, I don't know if really a resource. I said it's a resource, but maybe it's a tip. I don't know. And that's just get yourself a good office chair. You can get by as a home-based designer with cheap computer equipment or cheap software, but don't cheap out on your office chair. There's a 2012 study by the British Psychological Society that states a typical office worker spends an average of 5 hours and 41 minutes per day sitting at their desk. And that's for an 8-hour workday. Now, that's an office worker. A 2015 article from the Washington Post states that people working from home, such as home-based designers, they didn't specify home-based designers, but they said people that are running a business from home spend on average between 8 to 10 hours a day sitting in front of their computer. Now, I can speak from experience. I've done that many times, and I know there's many days I'm sitting more than 10 hours per day in front of my computer. Because even when the work's done, there's times where you're still going to be in front of your computer. I mean, I might not be working, but I'll come and sit down and maybe look at Facebook, watch a few YouTube videos, or whatever. Even when I'm not working, I spend time in front of my computer. Now, I'm not going to tell you the whole sitting is bad for you thing. You already know that. And I'm not going to talk about standing desks because, face it, most people won't use them. I actually have a keyboard that flips up that allows me to stand. And a little side note, I'm actually standing right now because I prefer to stand when I podcast. But that's the only time I ever use this standing keyboard thing is when I'm podcasting. Otherwise, I'm sitting down. And chances are you will be sitting down to do your work as well. So what I'm telling you is that if you're going to spend that much time sitting in front of your computer, you should really invest in a good quality ergonomic chair. No hard wooden kitchen chairs, nor $50 quote-unquote desk chairs from IKEA. I'm talking a good chair that will give you the most comfort and support for long periods that you'll be spending in it. I have a $700 office chair. Mind you, I did buy it on sale for $400, but still, it's a $700 chair. It was an investment. My chair is made by Serta. It's the same company that makes those mattresses. You know the ones with the numbered sheep in their ads. That's a company that knows comfort. Now, this chair is great for me, but it might not be great for you. When I bought it, I actually went to the store and I tried out several chairs, sitting down in one, then the other, and then going back to one. And I kept doing this before I finally decided on this one as being the most comfortable for me. And you should do the same thing. Whatever store you have nearby that has these chairs, go try them out. Sit in them for a couple of minutes each and see if it fits you right. And then, because Black Friday, at the time that I release this episode, Black Friday is only a couple of weeks away. Now's the perfect time to do that. Go test out the chairs. Try them out. Take note of the one that you like, and then wait a couple of weeks and see if there's a deal at that store on Black Friday. That's how I got mine. It was a $700 chair. I ended up buying it for $400 because it was a Black Friday sale. Trust me on this one. Your health, and especially your back, will really, really thank you for having a good chair. Now, on a side note here before I keep going, if you do plan on purchasing a new chair, or if you do plan on purchasing anything else on Black Friday for that matter, and you plan on making those purchases via Amazon, and you would like to help out the podcast, help support the show, then you can do so by using my link, resourcefuldesigner.com/Amazon, and this will redirect you to Amazon where you can then shop like you always do. And I'll make a small commission on any qualifying purchases that you make, and it's at no extra cost to you. So once again, that link is resourcefuldesigner.com/Amazon, and you can use that at any time of the year if you plan on doing any Amazon shopping. And if you do, I thank you for supporting the podcast. And now, reduce your offering, not your price. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Oh, I don't know, that's more than I want to spend. Is there any way you can do it for less? Now, if you haven't been asked that question before, or at least something similar to it, it's only a matter of time before you hear it. It's almost, a kind of a rite of passage for home-based designers. It lets you know that because you're working for yourself, that some people think they can haggle with you as if you're, selling your services at a yard sale. Oh, that's a neat little trinket you have there. The sticker says it's 25 cents. Will you take a nickel for it? You know exactly the type of people I'm talking about. So what do you do when someone asks you to lower your price? Well, first off, my advice is to never lower your price. There's no reason to. Now, on Resourceful Designer 113, I did talk about offering discounts. And yes, in that episode, I did share 6 valid reasons for offering a discount. But I also shared 3 times you should not offer a discount. I'll let you guess where because the client asked for one falls. You're right. Never offer it when the client asks for it. You see, what happens is, if you give in and you lower your price, you're actually setting a precedence for the future. Now that client knows that they can haggle with you, and they'll never take you seriously. They'll never take your services seriously, and they'll never take your prices seriously. In their eyes, you have just become a discount designer because you were willing to drop your price. And even worse, they may start spreading the word that you can be negotiated with, which is not the kind of reputation you want when you're trying to grow a business. We all know that word of mouth referrals is the best way to grow a design business. Well, you don't want that word of mouth referral to be telling the people, oh, and make sure you can haggle with them because you can get their price down if you do. Now, hopefully, you're in a good enough financial situation that you're okay with the potential loss of clients if you don't lower your price, because that will happen. It happens to me on a regular basis. Somebody calls me up on the phone or sends me an email and I tell them, okay, well, my starting price is this. And they'll say, oh, well, sorry, that's more than I want to spend. And they're on their way. And I'm okay with that. But what if you're not in a good enough financial situation? What if times are tough, or you just started your business and money hasn't started flowing in yet and the bills are piling up? Or for whatever reason, you're in a situation where you can't afford to turn down clients. Well, what then? It's a little bit of a conundrum, isn't it? If you lower your prices, you may get the money now, but it's bad for future business. Whereas if you don't lower your prices, you may drive the client away, which is bad for your present business. So what's the solution? The solution is to reduce your offering, not the price. And what do I mean by this? It means that you can appease your client. And if they ask you to lower your price, you can actually do that and meet their expectation, but only if you equally lower the service that you're offering them. Think of it this way. Let's say you're doing some renovation in your house. You're getting, a new bathroom. You've hired a contractor and they give you a quote of, let's just use a nice round figure. They give you a quote of $9,000 to completely renovate your new bathroom. And then you say, well, there's that quote again. Ooh, that's more than I wanted to spend. Is there any way you can do it for less? Well, the contractor might say, sure, I can do it for less. I can lower the price to $7,000 if you'd be willing to go with laminate countertop instead of a granite countertop, and if you'd be willing to do the floor in ceramic tile instead of marble tile. Now, does that fall in your price range? Well, you could do the same thing with your design services. Don't just lower the price. Instead, offer a lesser service for a reduced price that the client might be okay with. For example, if a client says a website's too expensive, no problem. Instead of designing a 6 or 8 page website, design a 3 or 4 page website for them and drop the price by 25%. If a client says a logo price is too high, no problem. Instead of offering 3 concepts, give them only 2 concepts. And if you normally offer maybe 2 or 3 rounds of revisions, tell them that they only get 1 round of revisions. Whatever the project is, find a way to lower your services in order to bring the price down. That way, the client gets the lower price that they're wanting, but you're also lowering the amount of work that you need to do in order to complete the project. So you're not really losing. And in turn, the client will appreciate you for accommodating them, but they won't feel like you're giving them a discount. They'll still think they're paying full price for your services, but it's full priced for a reduced offer. And you know what? When you do offer something like this, many times the client will decide to stick to your original higher price anyway, because they like what they were getting there better than the new offer that you're offering them. This is a similar concept to what I talked about back in episode 145 of the podcast, which was 3-tiered pricing strategy. Now, implementing a 3-tiered pricing is a great way to prevent people from asking you to lower your prices because it's actually built into the strategy. Now, if you haven't listened to that episode, you should really go check it out. But the Cliff Notes version of it is you offer a client 3 price pillars, with the middle one being the one you hope they choose. It's the most desirable one. The lower price option, what it does is it cuts back on the services you offer, like I've been talking about. And the higher price option adds in some extra perks and bonuses that would be nice, but might not necessarily be necessary. Anyways, the reason this works is because the human brain is wired to focus on one element and then judge everything else based on that one element. If you go into a store to buy a new shirt and the first shirt that you pick up off the rack has a price tag of $40 on it, then subconsciously, without even realizing it, you'll be comparing every other shirt you look at in that store to that first one. So when you go and pick up another shirt and the price tag says $60, you'll look at it and go, "Ooh, this shirt's a little expensive." And then when you go pick up another shirt and you look at the price tag and you see $30, you go, "Ooh, $30, that's a better price." But you're going to look at the shirt and go, "It seems a little bit lesser quality than that other one at $40. It's because your brain has been conditioned that the first thing they see is the baseline. It's the starting point. And everything else that you see afterwards is compared to that one. That's why when you visit a lot of these websites that sell stuff, you'll see the 3-tier pricing. And the middle price is almost always labeled something like best value or most popular. And it's highlighted. It's in special colors. It's bigger. It's a way to subconsciously embed that middle price as the focus element in the viewer's mind. And when they see it, their brain automatically registers it as the most desirable price, the base price. The price to the right of it will seem too expensive for what you're really getting, and the one on the left will seem less expensive, of course, but it's not going to seem as good a deal for what it's offering. And the middle price all of a sudden becomes the most desirable one, regardless of what they thought the price was to begin with. Somebody visiting the site may have thought originally that middle price was a little bit too expensive, but after comparing it to the other two, then all of a sudden that price sounds just right. The other benefit, of course, of 3-tiered pricing is now instead of wondering, well, here's a price, I wonder what other options are available elsewhere, now the person doesn't think that as much because they're making a decision based on 3 prices that you present to them. So now they get to make a choice, but they're still sticking with you either way, as opposed to comparing you to other designers. Now, as I said, if you haven't listened to episode 145, you really should. That was a really good episode. It's one that gets downloaded a lot. My Google Analytics tells me that a lot of people are searching for 3-tiered pricing strategies and stuff like that. So it's a really popular episode. So that one again was 145, and you can get it by visiting resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 145. But even if you don't use 3-tiered pricing model, it's a good idea to use the lower tiered strategy that I talk about in that episode to lessen the service, or at least the options, in order to reduce the cost whenever a client asks you if you can do something for less. So you take some stuff away that allows you to lower the price. Now, hopefully you won't be at this stage for too long, and your business will be successful enough that when asked to lower your price, you can simply tell the client, "No, I can't do that. This is the price for your project." And then leave it up to the client if they want to work with you or if they want to find another designer. And if they decide to move forward with you, great. You've got a new client and a new project to work on at the price that you set. And if they decide not to, that the price is too high, no worries. You have plenty of other clients vying for your services. So hopefully you understand that lowering your price is never in your best interest. Just lowering the price because the client asked for it or for any reason. Just lowering the price for the same service is not a good idea. You have absolutely nothing to gain from it, even if you get the work from the client. And if you've never been asked that question before, if you've never been asked to lower your prices, it's only a matter of time. Or it's an indication that maybe you are charging too low for your services. So take a look at that option and see if it's time to raise your price. But hopefully now, after hearing this episode, you'll be prepared to not offer a discount, but to offer a service that is more in line with what the client is willing to pay. Learn to reduce your offering, not your price. Now, I would love to know if you use this strategy. Is this something that you are already doing? Visit resourcefuldesigner.com/episode 190 and let me know how it's working out for you. Are clients accepting the lower price, or are they deciding to work with you at the original price? In my experience, that's what usually happens. The few times in the past that I have used this method of reducing my services or whatever I was offering in order to bring the price down, most of the time, the client ended up going with the original quote because they wanted those extra services. So let me know. Leave a comment for this episode. So that's it for today. I'm actually recording this on Friday. I didn't have time earlier in the week, so I'm recording this on Friday afternoon. So I'm going to skip the question of the week just because I don't want to have to spend more time editing and getting everything ready. But I will let you know that I am very low on questions. So now's the perfect time for you to submit yours if you would like me to answer it on a future episode of the podcast. Just visit resourcefuldesigner.com/feedback and submit your question. So thank you for sticking around till the end. I really love how loyal you are, that you're still listening to me at this point in the podcast. And before I go, I just want to remind you that if you don't already have a great office chair, Black Friday is the perfect opportunity to get one at a really, really good deal. That's what I did a few years ago. I bought mine during Black Friday, and I saved $300 on it. So if you need a good chair, now's the time to look. And remember, if you are doing any shopping on Amazon for Black Friday or any other time of the year, my affiliate link is resourcefuldesigner.com/Amazon, which will redirect you to your Amazon store, where you shop as normal at no extra cost to you, but I will make a small commission on any qualifying purchases that you make. And all those proceeds go to support the podcast. So thank you once again, and I look forward to talking with you again next week as we discuss more stuff for growing and expanding our design business. Until then, I am Mark Decote, wishing you all the best and encouraging you to stay creative.
Thanks for listening to the Resourceful Designer Podcast at resourcefuldesigner.com.